to Jamaica anymore. We had a little issue in the early stages. Remember now, the virus really started spreading back in January. It started in China, and then it spread, developed, popping up in different countries around the world. We had placed restrictions on travel from China on the 30th of January, and then on several other countries a few weeks after. We thought that was the right thing to do. The cruises, we also engaged in conversation, and eventually, sometime in February, we had stopped the cruises from coming, or they stopped, because they also had issues in other countries like the US, where they had the US government told them that they needed to because many cruises, as you know, had the virus to break out on some of the ships. Right now, therefore, that's not happening. But here's the issue. We have a couple thousand Jamaicans who work on cruise ships around the different parts of the world, based in the US or Europe, and many of them want to come back. And so one of the things that we're doing now, as part of the planned gradual opening up, we're looking at some of these groups, like these workers, and we're trying to work out an arrangement that would allow them to come back to their home, given that they are not working at this point in time. Now, what will that mean, Spice? It's going to mean some sort of arrangement that restricts them when they come initially, so the quarantining. So whether we find an institution or a place to put them, or we manage it through home quarantine, the team will have to make a decision. And of course, the cabinet of Jamaica, the government, the prime minister will have to guide that process with the advice of the team. But I would think that something will have to happen in the next number of weeks as it relates to cruise and workers and so on. When the ships will come back, I don't know, because a lot depends not on us, but also what happens in markets like the US, the US market. Somebody was asking me about a cure, and when is there going to be a cure for COVID? I think we answered that in terms of the vaccine. I don't know if you have a cure. You know, diseases pop up in the world, viruses all the time. I was reading up on the history of viruses as part of my little own education. And what is interesting is that many of these start when it moves from animals or birds to man. That's why you have swine flu. This is that came from swine to man, or bird flu. Zika, which is the mosquito. These will always happen. As they happen, what we do as mankind, as scientists, is study them, research, find ways to separate them, and what can control them. Not all of them will eliminate. Some of them we'll just have to control. So when you get it, you take medication, you rest, you get better. And H1N1 was like that. The big breakout was in 2008. I think COVID-19 is going to go that way too. And I know a lot of scientists are looking at it. So when, I would say soon, but I can't give you a date because I don't know. We just have to manage it until such times.
Talk to me about home remedy, Mr. Tufton. I mean, since as you know, you read and do your little own research. I myself, like, I'm at home, I would use like a lot of garlic. They tell me to use ginger. They tell me to boil up orange leaf, garlic. Are those myths? Does it help? Is it that we can do anything to build our immune system and it will help with the COVID-19, or is it all myth? Because, you know, we're Jamaicans and, you know, people will say, you know, boil up the ginger, boil up the garlic, boil up. Will any of that help us?
Well, first of all, let me just say that I am not the real doctor, okay? I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a doctor of business, so don't let me write a prescription for your Spice, otherwise you might die, right? But I go to my doctor and I get advice, and as a Minister of Health, I'm given appropriate advice to give to people. And there's no doubt that your immune system is better off if you do certain things. So you need to balance your diet. which means vegetables, fruits, right, and the proteins and so on. You need to get physically active, exercise, and it means anything. I mean, you're physically fit. I've seen your videos. I know nobody can dance like you, right? And you have to be fit to do that. So it's about running, swimming, whatever that keeps you fit. I ride, I do a little swimming, and I run, and I try to do it 4 or 5 days a week. And then finally, it's about knowing your health status. What your condition is. So if you're developing high blood pressure, the doctor will tell you, and so he will adjust your diet and give you a routine so you control it. Unfortunately, most Jamaicans know that they have a problem when it throws them down and they end up in the hospital. You really want to know before. We don't go to the doctor unless we're sick, and so we're trying to promote that. Now, all of that is captured under one of the best programs I believe that we have had in the ministry, which is called Jamaica Moves. And Jamaica Moves is really that. It tells people to balance your diet, be physically active, half an hour a day if you are an adult, an hour a day if you're children, and go to your doctor once a year to get a checkup. Everybody knows what a checkup is. And if you do that, the chances of you are living longer and having a better quality of life and fighting things like COVID is much enhanced. Now, the garlic and the other stuff, you know, Jamaicans, we're all people who love nutrients from our backyard garden. And my mother and my grandmother used to recommend all the things that you have said. And I believe it has served them well, and it continues to serve many of us well. The garlic and the mint tea and all that sort of thing, the ginger, all of those have good properties. I used to be Minister of Agriculture, and I remember doing a chemical profile or asking them to do a chemical profile on ginger. And Jamaican ginger is by far the best ginger in the world. The same applies for most of our spices, you know, our scallion and thyme and all of that, in terms of just the chemical makeup. So those are all good for us. The proportion in which you consume it now is something that I prefer somebody else to advise you on, because I don't have that technical skill. The doctor, I guess, could tell you that in terms of how much of it you have. But all of that is good, and it's good to keep your immune system strong.
That's good. Are we missing anything? Do I have anything else to cover? I'm trying my best to ask as much question as possible that I know that the people out there want to hear about. I'm not sure.
One of the things I'd like to say is that for Jamaicans listening on, if they want more information on what is happening re-COVID, they can call the 888 1 Love number. That's 888 1 Love. That is being manned by a number of people. We're using now university medical students, and they will provide the information, questions, if you have symptoms, you know, if you have a fever, if you have a cough, if you think that you need to get a test. You can also go to your health centers or call your health center, call your hospital. We want information to be out there because so we can provide that help for them. So call the number if they need additional information.
All right. I think I've covered most of what I have.
Somebody was asking Spice about the Cuban doctors and nurses who are here.
Yes.
As you know, we benefit from very good relations with Cuba. We've gotten a lot of help, by the way, from a number of sources. The US has been very kind to us. We've gotten help from, as I say, Cuba. Cuba and us have a very strong relationship when it comes to medical exchanges. And we recently got 150 nurses and doctors that came in. They had their quarantine for 14 days. Right. And then they've been put out in the field now. So they are in all hospitals across Jamaica to bolster the team so that the treatment that we have to give to patients, we can provide that treatment. We really are lucky to have the medical team that we have. Jamaica I don't think Jamaicans sometimes understand how lucky we are as it relates to that team that we have. But sometimes they are so good that they get recruited all over the world. So sometimes we have to also supplement them by bringing in. And the Cubans have been a big part of that. So I just want to say to the person who asked, yes, we have them here, and we are very proud to have them, and we're benefiting from them tremendously.
How do you know when it's time to go to the hospital?
Well, we advise persons in the first instance to call when they need information or if they're not feeling well. They will describe the symptoms to the person, and based on those symptoms, the person will say to them, make the arrangement with them to bring them to the hospital or to tell them how they should travel to the hospital. So we don't encourage people just to turn up at the hospital. What we do is ask them to call first, which is why the 888 number, One Love number, is so important right at this point. So normally they would ask them questions about how they feel. You know, do you have a temperature? Do you have a dry cough? Do you have a fever, headache, joint pains? Those are all indications. But once you give that kind of information, we can come to you. And let me tell you why we would come to you if you give our information like that. If you have a travel history, where like you're coming from a country or a city where COVID is strong, and then you say you have those conditions, it seems as if you would be more at risk. So they could visit you, take your samples, or they could pick you up, depending on how sick you are, or they could say, put on a mask, hire a car or something, and make your way to a location. So there are different ways to do it, but call the number first.
So calling the number is the most important thing to do. Do you have enough test kits in Jamaica for the COVID-19, Mr. Tufton?
Right now we do, and we're getting more. In another few days.
Raising concern that they think that it was being blocked in the US, so they are kind of concerned that you won't have enough, or there hardly is any test kit.
No, we have all the kits that we need. I mean, we use them a lot and are using them a lot more. We're doing a lot more testing, but we're getting in more. I mean, we had some bureaucratic red tape or issues once or twice, but I think we're doing well now. And
that's good.
In another few days, I think we should have at least 20,000 kits in the island, and we
amazing. Amazing. I'm happy to hear that. So let me see if I can find any more question. The number is 888 One Love. That's easy to remember.
Right. Somebody was asking about the lockdown and whether we're locking down the country and so on. I mean, I know it's on everybody's mind. I know people are thinking about it. I know a lot of people are calling for it. And that's because, of course, of the fear of the spread of the virus. Now, obviously, we have locked down St. Catherine, the cabinet. We have also imposed curfew restrictions on time, so you can't be on the road after a certain time unless you're essential service. The possibility of a lockdown is real. It's not my decision. Let me be very clear. The Prime Minister who leads the cabinet will take advice and will look at it. But it's going to be driven to a large extent, the extent to which we impose restrictions on the risk around the virus. So if persons do what we need to do on the social distancing and the management of the virus, then it makes that kind of restriction not necessary. If, however, people don't obey and do what they want and put themselves and others at risk, then what it does, it forces the government to think of all the other extreme measures. Truth is that not all of us listen and not all of us follow instructions.
And that is the main problem that we are having right now.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That is the main problem we're having. Not everyone is listening. Someone is asking about the mask and the gloves. You know, we keep hearing people saying that some of the mask is not helping. Only the N95 mask is good. Some people say don't wear the gloves because that will help to contaminate further. What are
Right.
your
So we have said that gloves, that masks can be helpful. First of all, first and foremost, the best condition is a condition on which a doctor recommends it and certainly uses it. If you are ill, wearing one will protect you from others. If you are exposed in crowded areas, wearing one could give you some protection too. And so we have said to people, if you have to go out, if you are in crowded areas, wear a mask. But very importantly, Spice, you have to also manage how you put on and take off the mask. Because the truth is, the mask can be contaminated because somebody touch you or your hands start to fiddle it. Because normally when you have on these things, if you're not careful, you're adjusting it, you put it under your chin, you put it on your forehead. So all of a sudden the mask becomes the big transmitter of germs. And so there's a way to put it on and take it off. You hold the straps and you put it around. You don't touch the face, touch the surface. You take it back off and you dispose of it. And so it's important for us to inform and educate people that if you're wearing it, wear it the proper way so that you don't risk being worse off. But it is advisable that we wear under certain circumstances. The gloves is the same thing, because wearing the gloves and touching surfaces that transmit germs and disease can be a very dangerous thing. I prefer to say to people, sanitize. So walk with your sanitizer, and as you move from one place to the next, you put a little in your hand, and those things are very effective. You know, anything over 60% alcohol can be very effective. The whole way of washing your hand with soap and water works every time. So that is also an option that you can exercise.
Speaking about sanitizing, is the call center being sanitized down now, like, or the Portmore area, or they're sanitizing maybe the bus stops and stuff like that? What's the travel history like for the people who left the call center?
Right. So there's a lot going on. The facility is shut down. The testing has been taking place on the grounds and at health centers around St. Catherine. The facility is making some changes, and there's actually an investigation that is going on to determine how this could have spread so much, because there are some rules that are in place where the facility, like all the other similar ones, should be practicing social distancing and doing some very important measures, like sending people home if they are sick. Nobody should be in any workplace right now with COVID who is coughing and sneezing and sniffling. If you're sick, the government's instructions are go home or stay home, because that's how you spread the virus. And what seemed to have happened in this case is that they were positive. So all of that is being assessed now while we're treating the patients and testing the workers. While we're doing that, though, yes, there are agencies of government like the National Solid Waste, the Municipal Corporation, that are working to support the cleaning up and so on, so that we can get back to normality. And the government is fully behind that, giving all the support that it can.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to ask. We spoke about the test kit, the essential shopping. Some people are just coming in, and I see the questions are being repeated. So if you missed it, I'm going to leave the live up. It's there for 24 hours. You can go and watch it again. I think Mr. Tufton has covered everything, and we've answered all the questions. I don't see anything that we haven't spoke about. If there's any concern, you can raise it now before he goes. But in the meantime, let me thank you again and commend everybody that is doing great in Jamaica to stop the spread of this COVID-19. I really appreciate everything that you're doing, Mr. Tufton. And a lot of people speak about your great work as well. And I think you need to be commended on all that you're doing to save us.
Thank you very much, Spice. Listen, I really enjoyed the conversation. You're on my turf in Atlanta, and I can relate. I want to commend you on your career and all the work that you're doing, and of course taking up this challenge to influence so many others. I want to also say that I am the man on the bridge. I am the sort of leader of the crew, but I couldn't do it without the team behind me, starting with the government, of course, Prime Minister Holness and the cabinet members, but the public health workers, the medical team and the administrative team. We're about 17,000 of them across the country. And they are our heroes at this time when we're under threat. Our heroes are our public health clinicians, teaming up with partners around the country, including the private sector ones. And I really want to use this opportunity to big them up. Finally, to your supporters, to the people online, and to their friends and family, remember, this is up to all of us. And I really want to appeal to them. Practice the social distancing, observe the rules that we are preaching, the restrictions, sanitize, and just recognize that this is all for us, and we will get over this. I am pretty sure we will, and we get back to normality soon.
I believe so too, and I will continue to use my platform to encourage them to do a lot of social distancing, and I just hope that measures will be put into place, especially since St. Catherine's is on lockdown. I'm seeing what will happen when they go home to their family if they should go out and catch the virus. So I'll continue to use my platform to spread this social distancing as much as I can, but I want Jamaica to take it serious and realize that it is we the people that can stop the spread and not just you alone as one person.
Thank you very much, Spice. Thanks a lot, and one love to you, and all the best to you in all that you do.
Thank you so much. And remember, people, the number to call is 888-1-LOVE. And that's easy to remember. I keep telling them if we don't stand together, we're going to fall together. So it's all of us need to come together to stop the spread. So thank you so much. There's a lot of other questions, but I think that would go to the Minister of Finance and the government and other people, because that's everybody's cry. They can't go to work, they can't find food, all of those other questions, which, that's everybody's concern.
We work together, Spice, and people who have issues, just call the number. There are lots that are being advertised depending on the nature of the problem. Visit your local MP or call your local MP, call your local...
Someone also said that they believe that MPs need to start working even harder in their different areas as well, to get to the people them and, see how best we can have a control.
Thank you very much. All the best to you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for everything.